hope people love it so that we can do 10 seasons of it. They got to watch the first 2 episodes with their mom last night, and my kids were cracking up. They were even getting some of the grown-up jokes on there too. And the show is very 80s style comedy. The jokes aren't like the ones you see today where it was a focus group that decided who gets to tell what joke. Like, it's very old school, and it deals with a lot of grown-up stuff like we did in the 80s too. But it was just random. I wasn't gonna work anymore. I was real happy and doing my thing and feeling good. And then Brian Austin Green called me and said, hey, they're remaking Punky Brewster. I've known Soleil forever. They want you to do this show. So just don't argue with me and do it. And I said, well, why don't you do it? He goes, well, I booked a job, so that's why I'm calling you. I said, okay.
I love that. And son, how old is Rocky? Like 8, 7?
My
8?
son's 8 and my daughter's 11 now.
I love that you brought up that they did it back in the day, and we're just talking about the 80s. I am so old that I remember All in the Family, and you could not make All in the Family today. It was so edgy, so cool.
No, and All in the Family might have even, it went into the 80s, but it started in the 70s. So none of it, like Sanford and Son, My Father's Show, Chico, All in the Family, even Welcome Back Kotter. Like, you couldn't, just parent groups wouldn't allow you to make those shows today. But with streaming, I love that
that's coming back, though. You know,
well, streaming allows it because it's no longer network oriented. So we got the opportunity to do this on Peacock. They're crazy supportive about the entire process. I'd never been on a show or a set where it was that sort of nurturing. And a lot of that probably has to do with Soleil, because her energy, like my buddy Brian said, he's like, dude, just meet her, you'll do the show. And he was right. Like, she just has this aura about her, and you just, it's like a sun, and you're a planet, and you just start kind of orbiting her.
It takes you over, right? Which is why the show was so popular to begin with, you know?
They're like, we got like 5 kids on the show, and they literally all just kind of, no matter how tired they are or how much schoolwork they had that day, she just doesn't allow anyone to be in a bad mood. It's really weird, but in a good way. I hope people love it so that we can do 10 seasons of it, and I can keep making it and watching these kids grow up, because you guys are going to see some stars, man. These kids, they got some serious skills, and a couple of them, I'm not going to say any names, but there's a couple that just shine. And you'll see when you watch it. You'll see. Here's the story. She's Punky Brewster. She's grown up. She's had a life. She's had kids. She's adopted kids. She got married. He was a musician. He had kind of like a gray beard, and it was even gray in his 20s, but movies covered it up. He was a musician, but he lived a musician's life. And that wasn't a safe environment for her to raise her kids in. And he was making life choices that a lot of musicians made, life choices that ended my father's life. So when you're dealing with drugs and alcoholism and things like that, she had to get away from him. That said, he's tried to turn his life around, and he's really made a lot of life changes. And he's come back into their lives, and he wants to be the best father he can be and the best friend that he can be to her. And so you can still kind of see some fire and some heat between these two people. So that's kind of where the story is at when the first episode starts. And you'll really kind of feel like you've been a part of the ride even before the first episode, just based on how they write it. And you kind of feel like you're a part of that family. Cherie is back on the show, Cherie Johnson from the original Punky. And the very first acting job I ever had was on Family Matters with Cherie.